Minnesota Vikings starting left guard Blake Brandel has had an interesting NFL career thus far. He was a sixth-round pick in 2020 out of Oregon State. Here he is against just completely dominating Bosa at the shoe. Actually, I think Bosa had 2 sacks this game. But converted left tackle, became a utility backup for the Vikings, backing up guard and tackle. And the Vikings made a commitment to Blake Brandel in free agency, signing him up to a 3-year, $9.5 million deal, half that contract guaranteed. And they're really putting it on the table. Even though he had been a backup, he had risen up. Coaches loved him. And it was interesting because Dalton Risner, last year's left guard, Roadhouse, had performed pretty well as a pass protector last season. No one was good at run blocking. But the Vikings signed Brandel before they eventually brought Risner back, even though, I don't know, it felt like Risner should have been playing both guard spots at times last year. But like we said, coaching staff, Kevin O'Connell, as well as offensive line coach Chris Cooper, obviously hyped up Blake Brandel, and they liked what they saw, and they were able to put their money where the mouth is, investing in him as the future as a starting left guard for the Vikings. And week 1, of course, yes, it's been one game, and a lot of things went right. It's pretty good against the Giants, but Blake Brandel showed up and showed out, man. Purple Persuasion. Blake Brandel in his debut as starting left guard for the Vikings, 91.2 PFF grade, 87.4 run blocking grade, 87.3 pass blocking, 0 pressures, 1 penalty. The penalty was sort of... I feel like the defensive lineman shouldn't be able to suddenly shift right in front of you like that. But it's an argument for another day. And overall, like the interior offensive line certainly had their issues, right? But Brandel was a standout. 91.2 PFF grade, leading the offense. Bradbury, 44.8 PFF, allowed 4 pressures. Also was dinged up with a minor knee injury. Ed Ingram gave up that sack early to Dexter Lawrence, as well as 6 pressures. Now, it does need to be said that the offensive line for the Vikings relatively kept Darnold clean most of the day, and a lot of the problems was obviously Dexter Lawrence, and Darisaw and O'Neal handled their business on the outside with Thibodeau and Burns pretty damn good, but also part of it is upon rewatching the all-22 of the game, like you could tell like the Giants were targeting Ingram and Bradbury with Dexter Lawrence. They were. So, could you say that they were giving less attention to Blake Brandel? That's why he had such a studly game. I mean, sure, but also there was a lot to like, man. And Brandel's game had a lot of polish. He had power in the run game. Vikings running a lot more man/gap, especially on that side. Good balance, solid communication with Darisaw and Bradbury, especially with Darisaw, where the Giants were tossing a couple T&E stunts and playing some games and had some delayed blitzes out there, and smooth communication, and that was a worry. So Brandel coming in at cold as a starter, where he hasn't spent multiple seasons with Darisaw, but they were very good at communicating out there and picking up some of those games. Also, movement skills downfield, obviously that's a huge asset. Getting down second and third level, plus he's just really good at finding work. So even if he was uncovered, he would always look to find work, either delayed blitzer or helping out Bradbury or helping out Darisaw, etc. And also, he was PFF's number 2 graded guard for week 1, which is good. It's pretty damn good, right? And Brandel just climbing the mountain, man. I feel like Blake, Mama, I'm sure hard to handle now. Brandel, or the mountain. We'll work something out. But so Brandel is good to go there. Now, Dalton Risner is still on IR. He's going to miss at least 3 more games. But ideally, he's going to be back from that back issue. And Ed Ingram. So Ingram showed some nice things in the run game yesterday. But, I mean, if he can't suture things up in the pass protection, I mean, that's going to have to be a wrap, right? It's a disservice to the rest of the team if Ed Ingram just continues to be rolled out there and he's pass blocking the way that he is. Now, Risner can pass block, was sort of whatever run blocking last year, but can we just fuse the two of them? Can we have an Ed Risner or Dalton Ingram? And actually, Dalton Ingram sounds like a character from a Nicholas Sparks book. But also, how do I know that? Doesn't matter. But once Reisner does get off IR, if Ed Ingram isn't up to snuff, like we're going to have some difficult conversations here. But like we said, Brandel had a fantastic debut, and it wasn't just because they were moving Lawrence more towards the right side of the Vikings offense, but Brandel certainly held his own, and he looked the part of a starting offensive lineman. So, yeah, really happy that the Vikings did decide to make that bet on Blake Brandel. And so far, like a lot of Kwesi's gambles this offseason have panned out. Of course, it is only one game, but the early returns are very, very good. And Brandel, it's been so long since we've had stability at left guard. Like, probably go back to like 2010 with Hutchinson. Damn, Gina. It's a long time ago, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. Blake Brandel, pretty damn good. Week 1 against the Giants. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. Until next time, Skol, production value.